3267. Unleash your brain. Experience the power of IQ for free. 1-800-419-3267. That's 1-800-419-3267.
Never assist a stranger getting change. Only take loose change from your own pocket. Just a little more financial insight from the Big Biz Show.
Did you write that one?
Yeah.
Russ and Sully, Big Biz Show. Welcome to the broadcast. If you're watching us on television, it's ALN and Biz Television. Not necessarily in that order. 35 million cable home strong. Glad to have you along. 866-606-TALK is your telephone number. And if you're listening to us on the radio, it's CBS Radio Network, Business Talk Radio Network, American Forces Radio, listening to us. We have a special broadcast for them every Tuesday. And they listen online on BigBizShow.com. You can too, by the way. Just go to BigBizShow.com. Click on the Listen Live or the Watch Us Live, and you can see our stuff there. I actually had somebody say that they didn't even know that we were on television in Los Angeles. They've been watching us on TV on their computer screen the whole time. But you can actually go if you have Time Warner Cable or Cox Communications or what's the other one? AT&T Uverse.
Uverse, yeah.
You can. And I know that they are on. I know that we are on other stations in the area. However, I know those are the other networks. Those are the three networks you can get us on. So good to have you along. If you have any questions about it, just go to BigBizShow.com. Type in your zip code. It'll tell you how you can see us. Also, my Twitter handle is BigBizRadio. I put out messages about stock picks I'm looking at. We just went through 3 just a minute ago. That's probably the biggest amount of messages I get. Is about
Did you Twitter that?
It's about public companies.
You Twitter those little...
Yeah, I did.
Pot and
we'll do
TNA
and we'll, I will. I'll POT, TNA, and little hotties, if I'm not mistaken.
Hot Pocket.
Why is it all coming just in flames like that?
Gives another meaning to that.
Listen, we're going to do small caps for people too in just 1 second. But before we do that, it's time for today's tax tip of the day, brought to you by our good friends at Tax Resolution Services, the nation's leading tax negotiation and mediation firm. Their telephone number is 866-IRS-PROBLEMS, 866-477-7762. And if you haven't filed your taxes in years, or you owe the IRS money,
it's time.
These guys can negotiate it down to pennies on the dollar. In fact, go to their website, taxresolution.com. How many days on the Big Biz Show Tax Day Countdown?
32 days left until you have to pay up. That'll be April 18th this year for some weird reason.
Emancipation Day, Washington, D.C.
Is there a Hallmark card for that?
No,
it's not really a holiday.
There's really
count.
Well, here's your tax tip. I'm going to give you 2 since we had a day off yesterday. So I'm going to give you the tax tip of the day for Thursday, March 17th. Tax tip number 22 and 23, Millionaires Club. Beware. Taxpayers who make more than $10 million a year or hold property worth $10 million a year have nearly a 10% chance of being audited.
Red flag.
And speaking of guys that have a lot of cake, buyers of new cars can deduct a sales tax even if they don't itemize. So this break applies to vehicles purchased after February 2010 up until December of 2010. So last year, if you bought a car between February and December, you can write off the sales tax. Even if you're just a 1040 EZ filer,
that's good.
You can write off the sales tax. So there's your 2 tax tips for one day. If you're a millionaire making over $10 million a year and hold property, you have a 10% chance of being audited. And if you are a buyer of a new car between last February and last December, you have a chance of writing off the sales tax. And that's your tax tip for the day from Tax Resolution Services, the nation's leading tax negotiation and mediation firm at 866-IRS-PROBLEMS, 866-477-7762. And there you go, Rusty Nails.
Yeah.
Are y'all ready for tax time?
2 hot tips. Yeah, I'm in the middle of doing them now.
Yeah. Well, the IRS is going to come out with a flame retardant receipt, apparently, so you can't just destroy the evidence. And they're contacting our friends at Flameret to do that. By the way,
that lady with the hot pocket would not have burst into flames.
Had her jeans been made out of Flameret.
There's the segue right there.
Chris Glover's in studio. Chris, so glad to have you along. How are you, sir?
Very good to see you.
Good to see you.
Welcome to this side of the pond.
Oh, yes. At least it's warm
Well,
here.
we talked to you last week, and you were actually in Kent, England.
I was.
And what was the weather? Was it similar to what is San Diego's a little overcast today? Was it about the same?
No, it was. It was
English
the weather was shit.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the company. Flameret.com is the name of the website. The name of the product is Flameret. I'll tell you, if you missed the beginning of the program, I like featuring small cap companies that have a good management team, have a decent proprietary advantage over the competition, and maybe under the radar. We talk a lot about the Googles of the world and the Apples of the world and exchange traded funds, and I love to ferret out small cap companies that have a pretty cool thing. I'm going to let you start over again from last week because we introduced you through the radio audience and through the TV, but now that people can see it and what you are. How did this whole thing start, and what is it exactly?
Well, I'll go back to where I was last week. I was introduced to the company 4.5 years ago. And the company then was being run by a drunkard and a janitor.
Hey,
much
leave
like
me out of it.
much like our
I was not running the company. What? Oh.
Perfect place for me to go.
Sure.
I saw that the formula that they had was absolutely outstanding.
Now, was this a publicly traded company when you took it
No,
over?
it wasn't.
Oh, so
No.
it was privately held.
It was a privately held company.
And you saw the formula for the product.
Yes.
And who invented that? Was that one of
It
those?
was actually
Or
invented.
the-
No. It was not invented by either of them. It was actually invented by a German.
Okay.
Okay.
I then, with the help of a couple of guys, we found who had the actual original formula.
Yeah.
And then we went and got that. So we then put Flameret together.
Okay.
Based around the original formula.
Flameret, what does what exactly? So for the people that aren't familiar.
It is a flame retardant. It's not an extinguisher. It's a retardant.
Now, let's talk about what's the difference.
Well, what it does, briefly, is it puts a membrane over whatever it's coated on. So it kills the oxygen so that the fire can't light.
So for example, and our television audience is watching a video that's on the website, the Flameret website. That's Flameret website. Is they've coated a piece of cloth with Flameret. Gentleman's holding it in his bare hand. They put a penny on the cloth. They're taking a blowtorch and acetylene torch, and they're melting the penny. The cloth doesn't burn, and the guy's hand isn't blister.
No.
And that's with the product.
Well, that's with the product.
And how was the Flameret applied to that? Like
It was just
sprayed
soap.
on?
No, it was just
Or
soap.
So
Just
is it a
soap.
liquid or a powder or a gel?
We can have it in liquid form. We can have it in powder form.
Okay.
We're looking at putting it into an aerosol.
Yeah.
So spray it.
Yes. Because obviously for people in their homes, their drapes
Sure.
and so on, we can do
Oh
it.
yeah.
Can I just give you an example of
Yeah,
what we
absolutely.
can do?
Yeah, I'd love
If you take a school, most schools in America are built out of lumber. You call it. We call it
Yeah.
timber.
Yeah.
We can treat the lumber. We can treat.
So during construction,
Yes.
pre-construction,
Or even back over
We
the
can
mill.
we can treat the timber. We can then treat the walls because we can have a paint additive. So when the walls are painted, we can put the flame retardant into the paint. We can treat the carpets and all the soft furnishings.
So you've got 5 lines of defense against fire. So I get, and from what I hear, and by the way, non-toxic, environmentally safe. We're showing this up for the radio audience. We're showing this to the television audience. Fully biodegradable. It means that how long does it last? In other words, once you coat something, is it you have to reapply it every week, every day, every month?
If you coat something like a wall, it just lasts until forever.
Right.
If you coat something like a set of coveralls
Yeah.
that you're going to wash,
All right.
we've got
Until
it.
you wash.
We've got it up to about 18 washes.
That's
This, and this is what attracted me about the company. Once again, Flameret is the name of the company. The name of the website, flameret.com. You've got, it's a very simple website. It's got the patent numbers on it, and it's got a video on it, and it's enough. You get the idea very quickly of what it's about. The interesting thing about this thing is the market. The market in the U.S. for flame retardants is well over it's almost $2 billion just in the United States alone.
and a lot of that's mandated too, where it has to have meet
It
certain
is
flame-
absolutely.
Well,
It's-
talk about that.
The legislation is coming in harder and stronger now. They first of all came in on bedding. So we've looked at mattresses, and we have got products for the lofting and ticking in mattress.
Yeah.
And in fact, we're doing a demonstration with Restwell up in Canada only next month.
So when they do these tests, it's a clinical test where they put it into like the fire department does tests on flammability and stuff like that, underwriting labs and that type of thing.
Absolutely, it's a very, very severe test when they do test it.
It seems to me that this thing should be in every single child's toy, every single child's. I mean,
sleepwear.
Sully, I totally agree with you.
So
where do we start?
Where do you connect? Where do you connect
That's why
that?
you're here.
So now we've established the product side of it. Now the issue is you're a CEO of a publicly traded company. You have responsibilities not only to the publicly traded company and your shareholders, but now you got to execute the business model. Now you got to get from point A to point B. How do you connect those dots to get yourself into the point where you're selling?
I've run businesses for most of my life, and I'm at sort of the older end of my life.
Yeah.
The art is to go for low hanging fruit initially. You need you need revenues and you need profit very, very early on.
Yeah.
So we're going to head for the,
you're not going to go to the Navy that's going to pay you 5 months later.
Absolutely right.
No, I'm serious though, because
that's true.
if you
It's
think about
absolutely
that, you think, oh, the dream deal is to get a $1 million order from the U.S. government. Well, the problem is that you got to have the money to produce it.
Right.
You have to have the money to ship it, and then you got to wait for them to pay you. So what you mean by low hanging fruit is you mean they buy it, you make it,
and it goes.
And
we're going to go for the textile market first of all, because that's the easiest for us to treat. So we're not going to get carried away. We're trying to treat specialty products. Go for the textile market, and we're going to buy a flame retardant textile distributor.
All right, so hang right there. Stay right there. I want to talk about that when we get back from the break. Flameret is our guest. FLRE is their stock symbol.
When do we light him on fire?
We don't light him. It's you that we're lighting on fire, by the way, Russ.
Okay, listen.
Put the coveralls on. Russ and Sully, Big Biz Show. Hey, we got about 15 minutes of trading going on today. Dow Jones is up. NASDAQ is up. S&P up. All a little bit over a point. Dow Jones up 166 now. That's looking pretty good. Russ and Sully, Big Biz Show. BigBizShow.com. Stand by.
If you're interested in learning how to invest properly using the techniques of many of the